Hi everyone, I'm Birbz, and today we're going to be working on the Kawaii Voltage Wattson Pylon. Kind of like this one here. Hi everyone, my name is Allison. You can also call me Birbz. Either one works. So if you haven't been following me, you know that I made this pylon back in 2020 when I made my Nessie Wattson cosplay, which you may have seen around. But I wanted to make a new pylon because this guy's missing the legs and I want to make it detachable. I want these things to come off so that it makes for some easier transport. And because I am making the Kawaii Voltage skin, I wanted to make it in a different color and to kind of improve on my already pretty lightweight and easy peasy foam design of this pylon. This is gonna be a different style video than what I normally do. We're gonna kind of work together on this and I'm gonna be filming as I start creating this thing. But can we take a moment for the jacket? And can we just say that I don't sew and I somehow made this jacket work in like 2 days. Pretty happy with it.
Okay, so this is the pylon pattern. I did leave this pattern down in the description for you guys if you want to use it, but I wanted to kind of talk about the construction of the pylon and how this is going to work. So the main body of the pylon is just going to be foam. So this piece here, the center, and the side of the pylon are going to be just one big connecting piece. I'm also going to include this piece here and this guy here, as well as this kind of underlayer on the main body of the pylon. Now let's talk about the coils of the pylon. What I'd like to do here is have a connecting point so that the pylon can break down for easy transport. I'm gonna be placing a water bottle cap in the side of the pylon, which you cannot currently see in this reference image. And then the top of the water bottle, which is gonna be very crude, is going to be here. It almost looks like a little volcano. What this is going to allow me to do is to screw the actual coils of the pylon on and off for easy transport. I am planning on using a Gatorade bottle just so it's got a bit more durability than your regular old daily plastic water bottle. The other part I want to talk about is this connecting point here at the legs. I think what I'm going to do is just use a PVC pipe base and include a piping attachment here. I do have some 1/2-inch CPVC pipe. I just need to go out and get the actual pipe housing. I'm not planning on backing it up with any additional magnets or screws or anything. It should be able to just hold its place without any issues. Now, one thing I do want to point out as well is the legs actually have 3 layers. It's not really conveyed in the pattern because this pattern is just the front face of the pylon. But when you are cutting out these leg portions, you want to cut out each section either 2 or 3 times. I am choosing to do this 2 times just to keep this a bit smaller and more compact, but I will be connecting those pieces together with some PVC pipe at 1, 2, 3, and 4 different joint points. And that'll be just glued on with some hot glue to connect this front piece to the additional adjoining back pieces. And of course, you only need 1 PVC pipe to connect it to the main structure of the pylon. So that's the idea for the pylon. The pattern you guys have will look slightly different than the one that I'm working on here because I've modified it for you and corrected some of the mistakes before I've posted it for you. But let's get back to the workshop. You're going to start by printing out the pattern and cutting it out into individual sections. I left some instructions within the pattern itself on how to print this out using Adobe Acrobat to your proper size. Then you're gonna grab your foam. I like to heat the foam ahead of time because they come in these rolls and they're sometimes hard to get flat. Then you're going to take your pattern pieces. I'm starting on the main body of the pylon and tracing it onto the foam. Remember that you are going to need 2 separate pieces for both the front and the back of the pylon. The same goes for the side panels. You want 2 separate pieces for both the front and the back. Now it's time to start cutting. I like to start by sharpening my blade of my box cutter because it's always good to have a super sharp blade when you're cutting foam. And start cutting out your pattern pieces. With 10mm foam, this takes a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of time, so just be patient and continue sharpening your blades to get the best result.
Hey, it's a couple days later. We're gonna ignore the fact that I'm gonna look terrible in the rest of this video because it is hot. We had like a heat wave and it is April 30th and it is 85 degrees outside. So it went from 50 to 85 really fast. So we're gonna ignore the way I look, okay? Okay, bye, back to the mess. I managed to make the side panels, which I didn't pattern out as well. So if you'd like to make these side panels, all you have to do is measure the length from corner to corner on each side, and then add a 3-inch allowance here. And if you want to, you can also bevel the edges of these. I did not, because I'm going to be sanding the edges of this bit anyway. That is how you make the side panels for the main portion of this. If you want to do the side panels for these smaller pieces, I would say probably go 2 inches. I haven't done those yet.
Once all of your foam pieces are cut out, we're gonna go ahead and flatten our pieces one more time because they are still curling from being in a roll. They need to be as flat as humanly possible for the base of the pylon.
This is your friendly reminder to wear your protective equipment, so please wear a respirator and a pair of safety goggles whenever you are working with foam or toxic chemicals, and that includes contact cement.
I'm then going to apply contact cement to the sides of the base. I also like to use a small piece of scrap foam to kind of spread out the contact cement evenly on each of the pieces. Once your contact cement is dry, you guessed it, we put the pieces together. Take your time and make sure you are lining up your edges. Once we've got our box, we'll apply contact cement to the top side and then attach the back face of the pylon. I did end up having a little bit of overlap, so I am dremeling down the sides and some of the connecting seams just to give it a more flawless finish. Now, before I started constructing the side panels, I needed to measure out exactly where the water bottle caps were going to sit. This is very important so that the coils are symmetrical and placed in the right location. I then took the water bottle cap and traced it over the foam, and then cut it out accordingly. A perfect fit. Then we can begin to glue these side pieces together. When you're done, you should have these cute little box-like square things, and your water bottle cap should fit perfectly. We are then going to take the sides and glue them to the main body of the pylon. Don't forget to measure exactly where you want these to sit so that they are sitting evenly. You don't want to forget this step because no one wants crooked coils. Ta-da! And our body is done, and now it's on to detailing. If you've never cut out detailing from a pattern like this before, it's very straightforward. You're just going to cut out the negative areas of your pattern with a pair of scissors or a hobby knife, and then trace it onto the foam. I'm using 2mm foam for the detailing, and then cutting them out accordingly. When you're done, line it up with the piece that's already made and trace around the sides so that you know where to apply the glue. This makes it a lot easier. Because I'm making the Kawaii Voltage skin, I'm also cutting out some additional hearts for extra detailing on the pylon.
Having a bowl of a break.
The last thing I'm doing is going in and dremeling down any of the overlapping sides or any seams that are still visible. Once this is done, you can go back in with some quick seal and water or some foam clay and fill in the gaps for the seams that might still be visible or have any open spaces. We are now moving on to the bottom half of the pattern. So we're going to repeat the process and cut out the different pattern pieces. The legs are a little bit more tricky as far as the pattern goes because it is just the top layer. So please keep in mind that this is a multi-dimensional layer. Then of course you're going to translate your pattern over to the foam. This is the only clip I have of me making the legs, but I'll explain how I made them a little later.
Hi, hello. Don't mind me, I'm covered in dust and look disgusting, as you do when you work on foam crafts. But I do want to kind of update you a little bit. I am running out of time. With this running out of time, I have to take a little bit of a shortcut. So here's what I have to do. I actually took the coil off of my old Pylon. And the reason I did that is because I'm running out of time and this is going to be pretty time consuming. So I'm just going to reuse this bad boy and he is going to get attached onto this gal here.
To attach the water bottle caps, I began by actually cutting out the top of the water bottle. I then used super glue, not hot glue, because hot glue melts plastic, to the inside of the pylon where we made our hole. I also made sure it was nice and snug and also sitting straight. I then attached the screw top to the inside of the coil. I did have to add an extra piece of foam so that this would sit nice and snug and not wiggle around. Success! The coils are attached, they're relatively stable, and pretty easy to get on and off. I'm really happy with how these turned out.
We're gonna ignore how I look. That's just the reoccurring theme. Oh my God, there's like 6 of those giant mosquitoes hanging out in here. Anyway, let me show you what I've done. I started really like kind of hunkering down and getting some work done. So that's why there's not a lot of clips of me making the legs, but I want to show you some cool stuff. First of all, here's this bad boy. Pretty much done, just need to do the top detailing, a little bit of detailing here. I'm debating if I want to do like a burnt layer because she's got like that decal. I'll put a picture right here on the top side. I will eventually be upgrading the coils. I'm just running out of time. I have 3 full work days left to finish the entire costume and I have a lot of work to do still. So we're just gonna leave that there. The other thing that are close to being done are the legs. I did kind of skimp out on some of the detail on these, so if you want to go hyper detailed with these, please feel free. But I have 1 or 2 days just to finish this whole thing. My overall goal with this cosplay in general is to make sure that I can travel with it. If I needed to pack this up in a suitcase and fly somewhere for an event, then I am able to do so. I'm gonna go finish what I was doing. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully not as covered in foam. Hi, welcome to day 2. We are going to be working on the legs and some of the bottom portions, like the attachment pieces. I did pick up some couplings at Lowe's that fit the CPVC pipe. My idea is to have the coupling kind of within some of the detailing on the bottom of the pylon. The other idea I have is I'm gonna be using a deep cut blade on my Cricut to cut out some of the decal on the front of the pylon. Luckily, I had a friend who rendered the shirt decal and the pylon decal already, so he sent it over to me. So all I have to do is transfer that to the Cricut design space and hope it cuts correctly. Let's focus on the rest of the pylon. Hi guys, Future Allison here. I just realized that I didn't really talk about the construction of the legs and how I put them together, and I didn't really film how I got the legs done. So I'm gonna walk you through how I made the legs. It is just a 10mm base per side. There is also a layer of 2mm foam on the top to get the detailing. And these 2 pieces here are separate, by the way. I know that in the pattern, they're just 1 piece because the pattern is only the front part. I actually put a little bit of overlap on the 10mm piece behind it, and this is just glued kind of on top so that it sits flush with this kind of anchor point here. And then of course the feet are just a couple layers of, I think, 6mm foam. I think it did 4 layers and then a layer of 2mm on the top and then the tiny little kind of rivet there. I only did 1 layer. There is actually a second layer here, but my PVC pipes are a little longer than they should be. So if you wanted to be more accurate to the reference material, you would add another section and kind of kill some of the length on the PVC pipe. Remember how in the beginning of the video we were talking about where those pipes were going to go? I wanted to actually physically show you. So there's one here, one kind of at the top where the PVC connects to the body of the pylon. And then there's one at the bottom here where the foot is. So basically anytime you see one of these joints, there's a PVC pipe behind it to back it up. As for this one, this PVC pipe is just kind of hot glued to the other one. I did have to make it sort of a concave kind of shape so that it was able to sit flat and not roll over. That's how I made them. Continue with the rest of the video.
And now it's time for the Cricut. I'm going to be doing a test piece before I move on to the main piece, but the first thing you want to do is move these little wheels over so that they don't make marks in your foam. We're going to be doing a quick test by cutting out this tiny little heart. And in your design space, you can actually search the materials for EVA foam. And keep in mind, I'm using 2mm foam. It might work a little better with 1mm foam. All in all, our test piece didn't come out too bad. I did forget to turn on a setting. You can actually select more pressure when using a deep cut blade, so I decided to try that test again. It still didn't make it through all the way, but that's okay. We can just use our heat gun later. Now we're moving on to the big piece. I did cut this out twice, and I still got some of these little frayed edges. I was able to pick them off and kind of heat them with a heat gun. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. This might have worked out a little better with 1mm foam, but I'm still happy with the result. Once your pieces are all complete, don't forget to prime before paint with your favorite primer.
Hi, it's a couple days later. You can see I'm deep in the crunch. I actually am wearing this tomorrow and I'm not finished. So I wanted to show you how I am strapping the pylon. This is the back of the pylon. So what I'm doing is I'm adding some nylon straps. I like to put a piece of foam over the nylon straps, especially if they're gonna be load bearing. But the buckles, which are new, are placed underneath of here where the piping attachments are. The jacket for this particular build is pretty chunky. I'm always into parachute backpack clips. It is going to be a little hard for me to get them out of here, but these are my test clips that I made sure they're easy to just in general pop out. Update, I did have to use a pair of pliers to remove those backpack clips from their housings, so maybe don't put them so close to the edge of that. You can put them a little further over so you don't have my problem and you can't get your fingers in there. It was perfectly fine. Gigi, go next. Ta-da! Here is our finished pylon. I'm really happy with it. It still needs a little bit of work in my eyes. The paint job needs a little bit of touch up. I'm really proud of myself. I love that it's super lightweight. I love that it breaks apart for transport. And if you are making a Wattson pylon of your own, I hope this video is helpful. I didn't film the painting process of this because it is pretty straightforward and you might be making a different type of pylon than what I'm making here, which would require a different painting process or different materials or even a different set of detailing that might be on the front of the pylon. But either way, I hope this video helps you out. I hope you make your own Wattson pylon, and if you do, please feel free to tag me. All of my socials are down below in the description, or you can find me pretty much anywhere at Alisonbirbz. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see me make. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Don't ever talk to me or my son ever again.